The Galactic Council chamber fell silent as Commander Ellen Ward limped toward the obsidian podium. Her left leg dragged slightly, the prosthetic still adjusting to her neural pathways after the Battle of Kepler 442. Blood seeped through the bandages wrapped around her ribs, visible beneath her torn uniform. She had come straight from the medical bay, ignoring the doctor's protests. Commander Ward, High Arbiter Vex Thor's voice echoed through the crystalline chamber, his 4 eyes blinking in succession. The Council has reviewed your combat records. Your injuries are extensive. We cannot in good conscience allow you to lead the defense of Refuge Station. Ellen's jaw tightened. Around her, representatives from 47 species shifted in their hovering seats. The Kalrathi delegation, massive bear-like beings covered in frost-white fur, watched with particular intensity. Their homeworld was closest to Refuge Station, the humanitarian outpost that now stood in the path of the Scourge, a ravenous hive mind that had already consumed 12 systems. High Arbiter, Ellen began, her voice steady despite the pain lancing through her side. I've fought the Scourge for 3 years. I've studied their patterns, their tactics. You've also lost 30% mobility in your left side, interrupted Counselor Thren, a serpentine Sivath whose scales shimmered purple with disdain. Your reaction time is compromised. Your body is broken, human. We need a commander who can actually fight, not a cripple who will get everyone killed. The word hung in the air like poison. Ellen's hands balled into fists. She wanted to scream that she'd held the line at Proxima when every other species had fled, that she'd saved the Sivath colony ships while their own military abandoned them. But the Council had already made their decision. She could see it in their eyes. Commander Ward is hereby relieved of duty, Vex Thor announced. Kalrathi War Chief Dranok will assume command of Refuge Station's defense. The massive Kalrathi rose, his silver armor gleaming. He didn't even glance at Ellen as he strode past her, his clawed feet clicking against the marble floor. Ellen stood alone at the podium for a long moment, then turned and limped toward the exit. Every step sent fire through her leg. Every breath felt like knives in her lungs. Maybe they were right. Maybe she was too broken for this. The corridor outside was empty, but she heard it immediately. A small, whimpering sound coming from an alcove. Ellen paused, her tactical instincts overriding her pain. She approached slowly and found a Kalrathi cub huddled in the shadows, no larger than a human child. The cub's white fur was matted with blood. Deep gashes crossed its small torso and one eye was swollen shut. It looked up at Ellen with its remaining good eye filled with terror. Hey, Ellen whispered, kneeling despite the agony it caused. It's okay. I won't hurt you, the cub trembled. Up close, Ellen could see the wounds were fresh, perhaps from the recent Scourge raid on the Outer Territories. Someone had brought this child here for treatment and lost track of them in the chaos. Ellen removed her jacket, moving slowly. She tore strips from her undershirt and began cleaning the cub's wounds with water from her canteen. The little one flinched but didn't pull away. My name's Ellen, she said softly, working with practiced efficiency. What's yours? Rin, the cub stuttered in broken standard. Rin of the Frostclaw. That's a strong name, Rin. Ellen wrapped the makeshift bandages around the cub's torso, her own pain forgotten. You're going to be okay. As she worked, Rin did something unexpected. The cub leaned forward and, with its small, rough tongue, licked the blood from Ellen's arm where her bandages had come loose. It was a gesture of gratitude in Kalrathi culture, acknowledging another's sacrifice. Ellen's breath caught. This tiny being, wounded and terrified, was trying to comfort her. Commander Ward? Ellen looked up. A squad of Kalrathi warriors stood at the corridor's entrance, led by a grizzled female with scars crisscrossing her muzzle. Behind them, more kept arriving until dozens filled the hallway. I am Second Claw Mira, the scarred warrior said, approaching slowly. She saw Rin in Ellen's arms and her eyes widened. That is War Chief Dranok's youngest. He was hurt, Ellen said simply. He needed help. Mira knelt beside them, examining Ellen's bandage work. Then she looked at the blood on Rin's muzzle. Ellen's blood. The warrior's expression changed, something like awe crossing her features. The cub has marked you, Mira said quietly. He recognizes a protector. She paused. We heard what the council said, that they called you unfit, broken. Ellen started to stand to hand Rin over, but Mira gestured for her to remain. War Chief Dranok is a great warrior, Mira continued, her voice carrying to all the assembled Kalrathi, but he has never bled for species not his own. He has never knelt in pain to tend another's wounds. She looked at her fellow warriors. This human fought for the Siveth when they could barely walk. She held the line at Proxima with shattered bones, and now, relieved of command and bleeding, she stops to save a lost cub. Rin curled closer to Ellen, purring, a sound of trust. Mira stood, drawing her ceremonial blade. She pressed it to her own palm, letting blue blood drip to the floor. I am Second Claw Mira of the Frostclaw clan, and I declare my allegiance to Commander Ellen Ward. Let the council name who they will. I know who I follow to war. One by one, the other Kalrathi drew their blades and followed suit. The corridor floor became slick with blue blood as they each made their declaration. Should we follow her now? One young warrior asked, uncertainty in his voice. Mira looked at Ellen, who still knelt on the floor, arms wrapped protectively around Rin despite her own wounds. A leader is not measured by the strength of their body, Mira said, but by the strength of their spirit. Look at her. Broken, they said. I see only someone unbreakable. The young warrior nodded and cut his palm. I follow Commander Ward. Footsteps echoed from the council chamber. War Chief Dranok appeared, stopping short at the sight of his warriors pledging allegiance to the human who held his son. His expression was unreadable. Then he saw Rin, safe and bandaged, clinging to Ellen. The massive warrior's eyes softened. It seems, Dranok rumbled, the council chose the wrong commander. He drew his own blade. But my warriors have chosen correctly. Ellen looked up at them all, these alien warriors pledging themselves to a broken human. Tears threatened, but she blinked them back. Then we'd better get to refuge station, she said, her voice strong despite everything. The scourge won't wait for us to finish bleeding. Rin licked her cheek and Ellen smiled. Perhaps broken things could still fight. Perhaps they fought best of all.